Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're dialing in from. Today, I'll be talking Unit 4. We are in Week 3, Unit 4, and I'll be focusing again on sales and manufacturing use cases, but today the focus will be more on inventory management, a production planner role, and quality management. So, we'll again start with a particular use case. We go into some of the details of the use case and then see how this is implemented in the system, in a live system. So, the use case that I am going to talk about is scheduled to be released sometime in August 2018. And then I will go into the next section, or the second part of the section, which is quality management. Again, this is more of a quality technician or a quality engineer. So, where these I will be talking about a use case which a few use cases which we are in the planning. So, as you know, yesterday we were talking a lot in our Unit 3 about the inventory manager role, how the stocks are being moved between different plants and different locations. And now an extension to this particular use case, or I would say from the production planner perspective, he or she would want to see how fast a particular stock is being moved or how fast he has to refill it. So, this particular use case we are focusing more on demand driven replenishment, and we are trying to see how best I can optimize my buffer level so that I do not have too much of a stock, so that I do not need to pay so much on the storage location, the storage costs, or I do not carry too less of a stock so that I will be losing some business. So, this is how I have to kind of come up with how I can handle this and how I can manage this, my leading buffer times. So, as you see here, again when we run these machine learning algorithms, we take the history of these replenishment lead times, we feed it to the machine learning algorithms, and then we come up with these suggested buffer levels that can be adjusted. On the bottom you see, with this what I am achieving, I am optimizing my buffer level inventory, and also I am decreasing the amount of bound capital that I have in my inbound stock, in my buffered stock. So, those are the main things that I am focusing on. So, obviously again this use case, like I have mentioned in the past in the last section, we have different approaches. We could have leveraged the predictive approach, or we could have leveraged the Leonardo approach. So, here we have picked up the option of leveraging the predictive analytics approach, which is embedded in S4HANA business process. And the predictive approach, we have picked up the predictive analytics integrator technology, where this particular predictive analytics algorithms, which are the models, are created and a scenario is created that is integrated into the S4HANA business process, so that when a production planner gets into the system, he can identify, so I can identify and see that okay, my lead times are different compared to what I have done in the past. So, as a continuation here, what is mainly needed for a demand driven replenishment here, it's both for an inventory manager or a production planner, this would be helpful. Even the inventory manager would also like to know the replenishment levels, the buffer levels that are needed at a particular location. So, that is the reason we are saying here allows an inventory manager, but in reality it is both for an inventory manager as well as a production planner. So, basically evaluate the historical lead times, identify based on that, and then understand how my buffer levels can be maintained, so that it is not too big or not too low. I will not go into the details of all this. You can check the slides, and then you can go into, this is mainly the material information flow, and then you have the demand driven stock level management, which are pretty much self-explanatory. On the left hand side, you will see the screenshot about the business benefits that we are achieving here. We will go into the system anyway, so you will get to know and we can discuss a bit more. So, at this point I would like to do a quick demo. I will first, like I have done yesterday, I will first get into the system. Let me get into the, so here now I have already logged in today I am doing it in a different way. So, I have logged in into the into one of our development systems, and I have the roles of a inventory manager, as well as a production planner, as well as an analytics specialist. So, and also as a purchasing manager. So, that is the reason you see quite a lot of these different categories or different groups. So, I do not need to log off and log in, but this is mainly for the demo purposes. As an end user that you have at your firm, what you will have is, as a production planner, you will have a separate role and you only see those particular apps when you log in as a production planner. But here initially, even before logging as a production planner, I first want to log in as a analytics specialist. So, when I log in as an analytics specialist, obviously those particular apps are shown. So, let me now go into the predictive models that are needed. So, like I have done yesterday, now let me go into the predictive model app. So, I go into the predictive model here. I want to identify the particular predictive model that is created for the lead time for the stock transfer. So, as you see here, there is a model is created, and let me select this model, which was this model is relevant for the demand driven replenishment. So, like I said, there are a lot of different models here created across for each of these use cases, and now each of this particular model has different model versions. Like I have explained yesterday, I can also create a new version. Let me hit on train. So, I would say I will have a training filter. Maybe I will pick up a purchase order. I am just giving some arbitrary value 0, 0, 0, some very high level. I will say train. You see the type regression. So, here we are using a regression algorithm. So, the status immediately goes into scheduled. So, what will happen after scheduled? Then it will get into the ready state. So, currently you see model version 5 is in active state, which means that we have currently the version number 5 is the one which we are using. So, now that the model the version 8 which we created is in training. So, the model is training based on the data set that we already have. So, once the training is done, then I should be able to, then the model will get into the ready state. So, once the model is in the ready state, then I will go ahead and I can activate it. Before I do that, for example, I would like to go and show you a bit more details on an active model. So, I hit on this active model. You can see here the model report. You can see the quality information. Do not worry too much about the quality information because we may not have enough data here. So, that is the reason you have a predictive power and predictive confidence levels are low. Predictive power is the level where you have the test data that you are using and against the real data. So, if I can match it to the target variable, how good the data is. And predictive confidence is showing the robustness of the data that I have. So, currently if you do not have too much of information, too much of data, these values might be low. But over a period of time, the values can get better, or if you have more data, obviously your training results will be higher. So, if you go down, currently the training filters that I used here are just purchase order, and then you could have as many number of filters as possible. And then if you go down, you will further find the performance. The performance, what are the key influencers, and what is the graph also explains about what model and is needed, and what is how the performance of these different models are, the different parameters are. So, I come back. So, now that you see that new version that we created is in the ready state. So, now let us activate this. I could either say retrain or I could say activate. So, when I say retrain, I can go ahead and change some of the values here, or I can just go ahead and say train and it will continue. So, now that it is ready, I can go ahead and activate this model. So, you remember when I have hit on the retrain, the version 8, it took the version 8 and it is retraining and creating a new version, version 9, but I am activating the version 8. This is just for your example purposes. So, once the model is activated, then you will notice that we will be leveraging version 8, not version 5. Let us give it a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds. I think it shouldn't take more than that. Yes, so version 9 is also ready, which is new model. In the meanwhile, I can go and check the performance of this. You also notice the created at and created by, all these variables, all these names, information. See, now you remember, now you see that version 8 is an active state. We activated that. So now let me come back. So now we have created a model. We have created a model version based out of one of the models that was available, and this model version, which is activated, will be leveraged by our app. And now we will, let me go back into the system. While the system is starting, okay, so now we are in the system. So now I want to go into this particular demand driven replenishment process. Bear with me, we are here almost. So we are in this demand driven replenishment category. So here we have these different apps. I will go into the mass maintenance of the product. So now I want to identify which particular product I can create this replenishment. So here, not all the products are in the stage of transferable state. So only those products which are in the transferable state, I can do the replenishment for them, and I can calculate the lead times. So there is a particular scheduling algorithm, particular scheduling job which is done prior to that. So I know from my example earlier, or from my experience, or from the script that I have, one of these items, the BS auto item, is the one which is ready for transfer. So I can pick up one of these items which is ready for the stock can be transferred, and there is some replenishment stock or the buffered stock which is available for this product. So I pick up this BS underscore auto underscore product. Now I go to the change. So what I am trying to do here is, in this particular product, I go to the lead time parameter. I say that lead time calculation math, I would say replace the field value, and I would pick up, and then it takes me to that particular math. I hit on the go. There are different items. I could see how I calculate that lead time calculation math, whether I take starting from creation date, or starting from release date, or from product master, or utilize the prediction based algorithm. So I hit the prediction based algorithm, which is the algorithm, the predictive scenario that we have leveraged. Now I say apply changes. It will ask you, are you sure you want to apply the changes? I'll say yes, and then now you will notice that one product has changed. So this is how it happened. So now I can go back. I can now go into the schedule lead time classification of products. If I go in there, I will not find, because I do not have scheduled any job on my name. So that is the reason I'll go into my script, where you will notice that I will run the script, and you will see that I go into the schedule lead time. There is already a job which was scheduled, and then you will see the particular general information and how this particular the threshold values and how many days it takes and what is the replenishment time and all. So once this is done, now I go back, and there is this other manage buffer levels. Let me quickly pause here. So if I go back into my original app, if I go into the manage buffer levels, so I logged in as myself, and I do not have any buffer levels managed here. But in my script here, I already have managed the buffer levels, and you will notice that if I hit and continue, you will see I go into the manage buffer level app, and you will notice that if you go into this particular BS Auto 1 product, you will notice that the decoupled lead time. There is let me go back. You will notice that the lead time is unchanged. So, even after running this algorithm, the lead time is unchanged, which means that currently based on the historical lead times, replenishment time is good. So, that is one of the examples that I wanted to run through and how this is implemented. So, this particular use case is released in Q3 of 2018, scheduled to release sometime in 2018 Q3. Let me now go back to my presentation. So, what we have done, we went into the system, we have focused on a production planner role, which is also relevant for the inventory manager role as well. But here what we are trying to do, we are trying to identify the optimal buffer levels that could be maintained at a particular storage location. So, that is what we have accomplished here in this particular use case. We showed that what is the level of buffers that can be maintained, so that I am not carrying too much stock or I am not carrying too little of a stock. So, this is so we started with the predictive model and how this model was created, what is the algorithm which was used, the training data, and then a predictive scenario, and then we went into the system. We saw how this could be leveraged or how it is integrated into this particular HANA business process. So, as a production planner, when I logged in, I saw this use case concluded, and let us now jump into the quality management section. This is one of the important topics, or a topic which excites me. The reason being, as you might know, you could leverage the predictive analytics technology or the predictive analytics algorithms in doing a lot of things in different applications and different lines of businesses and different industries. This is quality management is one of the key topic, as you might know, that in any situation, or in this example as a manufacturing line of business, you identify a lot of defects or you might identify a lot of bugs. So, as a quality technician, my main duty should be that I identify a defect and then I report a defect, and then I can focus more on reporting of these defects rather than identifying if I have a similar defect or a similar defect which is already available, or suggesting a particular defect code. It might be better if machine learning can provide me. So, each defect that I identify, I have to categorize it based on a defect code. So, if the machine learning can algorithm or the predictive analytics algorithm can suggest me a particular defect code depending on the defects that I have identified, whether it is text based or image based, it will be much more useful for me. I can focus more on my other tasks of testing the whole system. And in the same way, a quality engineer generally focuses more on analyzing the defect. So, here rather than the quality engineer spending time on clustering these defects or identifying the root cause, if there are some suggestions developed or provided by the machine learning algorithm or the predictive analytics algorithms, it would be much more beneficial, so that I can focus my efforts much more on identifying or analyzing many more defects. And the bottom line, the company can, the bottom line revenues can increase, so that I can focus much more. So, this is at a high level. These are some of the use cases that we are working on. These quality management related use cases are in the planning stage or are in the development phase, and these are scheduled to release in 2019. So, as you see here in this complete pictorial representation of this flow, starting from the left all the way to the right, you see as a quality technician, once a defect is detected, there are different proposals which come. So, on the top you see the code proposal could be one of these ML algorithms or one of these use cases based on the past defects. And then you could also identify similar defects warning, which is again another machine learning related use case or machine learning related suggestion, saying that okay, these are the similar defects, again based on the past defects. Again, once these defects are identified, now you go to the next level for a quality engineer. As a quality technician, you record the defect, but as a quality engineer, you analyze the root causes. So, here again, like I have explained earlier, there are quite a lot of different things, like the quality engineer can focus his efforts on if ML can propose root cause proposals of a particular defect or task proposal for these defects. So, these are some of these use cases which we are developing based on working with some of the customers and some of the partners that we have been interacting. So, these are typical use cases which are needed in a manufacturing firm, or it can be across different lines of businesses as well. But these are the ones which we identified and which came out. So, based on that, we started working on identifying what can be done. I would suggest you you could go into the OpenSAP sessions and kind of run through these, and you can identify what are the other courses that are available which are relevant for this. You could also go into our SAP S/4HANA cloud machine learning use cases, and you can also identify what are the other use cases. But overall, these are some of the interesting examples that we have been working on. I would want to conclude this unit by highlighting or summarizing what we have talked today. In this unit 4, you might have noticed that we have 2 sections, right? The first section was focused on inventory management, where we identified, it was a continuation of unit 3, where we identified how a production planner, in addition to an inventory manager, can identify and maintain the stock levels so that the stock is not too high or too low. Levels are maintained at a better rate. And then we went into a demo of that particular use case, identifying what is a predictive scenario and how it is embedded into the S/4HANA business process. And then in the second part, in the second section, we went into the quality management perspective as a quality technician or a quality engineer, identifying what is needed for me on a daily basis and how well machine learning can help me. So, I would suggest you could go ahead and run through some of these other scenarios that are available. I would thank you all for attending this session, and tomorrow in the next unit, I would say in unit number 5, Mr. Oren Shattle will be talking about the outlook and the roadmap of what is coming up in 2019 and later, or the second half of 2018 and later part of 2019. What are the other use cases that are coming up? Because there are a whole lot of use cases we are doing, and we are in the planning mode. As you might have noticed earlier, we did talk about the different approaches, the predictive approach, the Leonardo approach, how we are leveraging these approaches and how we are building these use cases. You will see much more detailed thoughts about the use cases that we are planning in the Outlook session, which Mr. Oren Shattle will be talking about. So, this is where you could take these, and then each of these use cases, again, like I mentioned, based on our experience and based on the experience that we are working with the customers and the partners, a particular approach is identified, whether we are embedding it into the S/4HANA business processes or whether we leverage the ML service which is sitting on SCP. So, that is the overall idea. I thank you all for attending this session, and have a nice day or have a nice evening wherever you are dialing in from.